Right. You may be thinking, what does this random computer screen full of code have to do with habits? Well, there are a lot of parallels between the habits that we live by and the programming that a computer runs on. And many people even believe that the Matrix from the movie is real, and that we are nothing but computer programs created by someone or something smarter than us. And neuroscientists like Bruce Lipton claim that the first 7 years of our lives is the time when 95% of our programs are created. Children, like me and my brothers in this picture, spend much of their time awake in a theta state, the same as adults under hypnosis. Let me take a minute to introduce myself. I like to describe my home as somewhere in the middle of the North Sea. Ever since my family moved to Norway, from Norway to the UK when I was 11, I've sort of had one foot in either country for most of my conscious life. For uni, I decided to do a combined degree in psychology and linguistics. I learned about neuroplasticity, the brain's amazing ability to reprogram itself through practice, and also wrote about linguistic relativity, which I think Anna kind of touched on with the relation between identity and language. But then my computer programming kicked into gear as I decided to study human-computer interaction. I always looked for connections between computers, psychology, and design, and all kinds of different areas. And I started my professional career in a company, a technology company, which you can see some of the team members here. And I really loved bringing that connection between technology, human psychology, and design. But I found myself still unhappy. And it came to the beginning of 2019 when I felt very lost. I didn't know, I felt like I was floating around in space. And I had to take some time to think about what I really wanted to do with my life. And I thought about it. I knew I loved working with languages, and I'd loved studying linguistics. And so I had this I thought it was an amazing idea at the time. What if I combine coaching with language learning? And but it turned out there was a whole discipline and an online course and all this kind of things around neuro-language coaching, which combines coaching principles with language learning and teaching and neuroscience. But then, of course, came COVID and everything sort of changed. And instead of thinking about helping my clients to create healthy learning habits, language learning habits, I had to think about, well, actually, how to create any kind of habits in so much uncertainty. And so it was kind of a back to basics sort of time for a lot of us, I think. When every routine is out the window, how could I help my clients to even learn just for a minute a day? That was always what I said to them. Can you do something while you're brushing your teeth, or practice something whenever you have the time? And I came to realize that habits have a lot to do with attitude, and it's a lot more than just your routines. It's about your perspective, whether you're an optimist or a pessimist, which this kind of, are you a glass half full or a glass half empty kind of person? So I'd like to kind of widen that concept of habits to include more than just the actions, the very visible actions that we do on a regular basis, but actually what are the thought patterns and the emotional patterns that we have. For example, are you one who's likely to become defensive or aggressive, actually, when you're faced with a certain situation, or perhaps with a certain family member? I know from having two brothers that we tend to get on each other's nerves. Or perhaps you're someone who tends to shy away from conflicts And you know, that might be something that you've got from your parents, from watching your parents, or other experiences in your childhood. So becoming aware of those habits and patterns that you have can be the first step, really. I'm not going to tell you how to change your habits, but Confucius gave the advice that you should be like a water, the way that it flows and takes the shape of whatever vessel that contains it. So you should be adaptable to different environments. Taking inspiration from a different branch again, Brendan Boyle is a partner at a design company called IDEO. And he says to have the mindset of testing to learn, not testing to validate. So you're really just experimenting with perhaps different personalities or different trends. And then there are sources of inspiration, sources of great habits all around us, like choosing to find a toy in a little pine cone like a dog would, or choosing to give shelter to these little birds that don't have the feathers to keep warm on their own. But I would encourage you to think about creating habits around kindness, humility, patience, perseverance, forgiveness, gratitude, and love. And at the end of the day, it's all about your perspective. So I wanted to end on this image, which is from a Twitter page called Terrible Maps. And it's got a very positive and optimistic view on texting and driving fatalities in 1960, obviously because there was no such thing as texting back then. So I hope that I'm done. Yeah, I hope that was helpful and useful.